Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scouts. Here we will discuss the best armband options for Game Week 31. There's good, there's bad and there's ugly. The good news is it's a double game week. The bad news is it involves Burnley and Everton, and the ugly news is that Burnley face Man City during the week and this is where veteran FPL managers will know. Traditionally, Man City against Burnley is an absolute drubbing for Burnley, and it's a great time to invest in Man City. So there's some ugly stuff for Burnley fans there. Joining me is Fantasy Football Scouts Tom. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. It's been nice to take a bit of a breather, really, during the international break. Kind of feel refreshed and refocused for the run-in now. So looking forward to this chat.
Excellent. I just welcome those that are joining us very early in the chat. I believe, because it's been so long since we've been streaming and I'm still using my old technology, I forgot to press mute. So you heard my traditional clicks and as I was trying to get the stream up and running. So welcome Gianpaolo, Kurt Kunshaw, Just a Dad posting stuff, he's a regular, Moshi and Delia as well. Welcome the early birds there into the live chat. So what we're going to discuss here, captaincy. So before we do that, I understand you've got some words to say about Fan Team, Tom.
Yep, so the Fan Team Monster is back this weekend, which is the weekly tournament where you pick 11 players. There's a safety net in play, and there's some tasty fixtures this week, which we're going to talk about in more detail now. So have a look at that if you're interested in Fan Team.
Excellent stuff. Welcome to Frostbolter and David Laws, who just joined us in the live chat. David Laws says, finally made a live stream. Great stuff. I wonder if this is David Laws, the former MP for Yeovil, which is near me, perhaps. That would be great stuff to have a former cabinet member watching us. But if not, it doesn't matter. All David Laws are welcome. And Bernardo Santos has just joined us as well. Thank you. Let's have a look at these fixtures. Okay, so we've got a picture of Kevin De Bruyne. I think it's from last season. So eagle-eyed Man City fans will notice, hey, they got a different shirt now. But it's Kevin De Bruyne in a Man City shirt. So the reason we've got him there is because, as we were saying, Man City against Burnley. That's a great time in the fixture calendar for FPL managers. Some really tasty fixtures there. So Kevin De Bruyne immediately stands out as a great option. Chelsea against Brentford, Liverpool against Watford, Spurs against Newcastle. They're all at home, those three. They're all great options as well. And Burnley against City, and then Everton. And Everton, who have that double, play West Ham. That's not so good against Burnley as well. So there are options. My immediate takeaway of that is don't count in a double game week player. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit like you, Joe. I'm struggling to get too excited about either of the teams who double. Burnley have lost their last 3 matches in a row without scoring. It's been a kind of a theme throughout the season that they've struggled in front of goal. I think they've scored 22 goals, which is the 19th best in the league. They've had 35 big chances, which is the joint third lowest. So it's not that appealing going to one of their forward players. I mean, if you're going to look at one, I think it's probably Weghorst, who's got a goal and 2 assists in his first 9 appearances for Burnley. Bit underwhelming.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great, does it? The first 9 appearances, goal and assist.
Yes. So 1 goal, 2 assists. Yeah. His all-round performances, from what I've seen, have generally been okay. But Burnley just aren't prolific at all. They don't create many chances. That can be good if a player does score, because they're probably going to get bonus, and they're scoring games they tend to be. But I think, a lot of people went to Weghorst a few weeks ago in their double, but there are some really appealing single game week matchups this time round, which maybe wasn't quite as much the case last time. So I think that City match, which you touched on before, is so off-putting. Yeah. It kind of essentially makes it a single game week, really. City away from home haven't lost on the road since the opening day against Spurs. So you're not expecting much from that, apart from appearance points for your Burnley assets. It's obviously off-putting if you're looking at somebody like Nick Pope, given City's attack. The Everton match is more appealing. I think Everton have been really, really poor on the road all season. They've got the worst away record of any team. But again, I'm struggling to get too excited back in an attack which has struggled so often this year.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the fixtures in terms of difficulty. So that shows that if we're just going by fixtures, Everton and Burnley are where we should be focusing. But as we've just described there, probably not. So yeah, Everton, best fixtures of the game week because they have 2, West Ham and Burnley, but they're both away and Everton are quite poor away. Burnley, City and then Everton. So it's that Burnley-Everton game. If you're going to be investing in any Burnley players, you really want to be hoping for some returns there. And literally anything you can get for the City game, just be happy with. Brighton against Norwich. I don't think we're going to be... I think we're not going to focus really that on the captaincy. Just going to skirt over that. Liverpool against Watford. Man City we mentioned against Burnley. Chelsea against Brentford. Leeds-Southampton game looks intriguing. Che Adams and Rafinha could be quite good differential options there. And then Harry Kane and Son against Newcastle. Now, I own Harry Kane. Very happy with that. I don't own Son. Yeah. And when Spurs are at home, I get a bit worried. Why is that? Am I right there? Son just is a monster at home, but not so good away.
Well, yeah, I mean, both Son and Kane are coming off the back of big performances in blank game week 30, aren't they? I mean, Kane's the inform forward. I think he's got 11 attacking returns in his last seven matches, which tells you all you need to know about the way he's playing at the moment. Spurs as well. I mean, Spurs have been inconsistent this year, haven't they? But they have now won back-to-back matches for the first time in 2022, given that they've just beaten West Ham and they beat, I think it was Brighton, wasn't it, before that one? So that suggests they're moving in the right direction. I'm not personally looking at this one for captaincy because I do think Newcastle have improved quite a lot under Eddie Howe. I think if we're looking at, which the ticker backs up, that Watford home match for Liverpool is a more straightforward fixture than this Spurs one against Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle haven't conceded more than a goal in a match since before Christmas. So they've turned a corner under Eddie Howe. I think there's a couple of kind of issues with Dubravka and Shah leaving international duty early. So you might want to monitor that on the run up to the weekend. But I think these guys are good options like Son and Kane this week. But I think there's one or two other options which I'd probably place just ahead.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at the expected goal involvement for double game week players. So we're probably going to be quite quick on this. But this is so if anyone's watching or listening and they're absolutely determined to captain a player with 2 fixtures, this bit's for you. Okay. That's right, McNeil for Burnley. That's where your money should be on. So basically there's only 2 players with an expected goal involvement, a goal or an assist, over the last 4 matches. And that's McNeil at Burnley and Rondon, who probably won't play, at Everton. And then your next best is Iwobi with just under a goal. He was expected to have scored just under a goal in the last 4. Weghorst, the same. And then Tom Davis, Cornet, about 3/4 of a goal over the last 4. Calvert-Lewin is lucky to notch up 2/3 of a goal in 4 matches. So mathematicians will work that out, how much returns you're getting there. And then if you're looking for, I'm not suggesting to captain, but a player to get in, Ben Mee could be quite good if for the outside chance of an attacking return. And then there's Richarlison with half a goal involvement over the last 4. Yeah, I mean this is. I mean you wouldn't captain any of this lot, would you?
No, just on Ben Mee as well. He is flagged at the moment. We're awaiting a fitness update on him.
Best defender's gone.
Well, then you've got Loughton, who doesn't even play at the moment.
No.
Roberts has moved there, and it's him. Tarkowski is 2 yellow cards away from a 2-match ban. So there's, if you're looking at Burnley defence, it's probably Pope or Roberts, to be honest, as the kind of the standout options. But in terms of captaincy, I mean, we touched on Weghorst there. I'm playing him this week. I'm an owner, but in terms of captaincy, not looking at that. I think at Everton, Calvert-Lewin has obviously been in and out of the team, coming back from injury, got an assist against Newcastle, but we'll have to see how he's doing fitness-wise. At least he's had a 2-week kind of break of training, but again, it's not something I'm looking at for captaincy. I think Richarlison's got a couple of goals since game week 10 onwards or something like that, so carries no form. And then, you know, the best Everton option probably is somebody like Anthony Gordon, who leads on in terms of shots and created chances. But obviously, they've been looking at that list. They've been quite speculative shots, because he's not even in the XGI table. So I mean, just nothing to fill him with confidence in that list at all.
As a Ramsey owner, and if anyone else has got a sort of 4.5-ish midfielder, Gordon is a nice easy slot in there, but I don't know if it's worth it, because as you said, he's got the volume, and he passes the eye test, but it's just not that quality in front of goal. So you never know.
Tough fixtures to follow as well for Everton, but they will have more doubles later in the season, because they've got a couple of matches which still need to be rearranged. And for 4.5 or 4.6, whatever Gordon is now, might be worth a look if you've got somebody like you say, like Ramsey, who you're looking to move on.
I think it's worth considering, if anyone is considering getting in these players and indeed captaining them. They should think about what they're doing for game weeks 33 and 36 are 2 game weeks we're talking about more on the Scoutcast later tonight. But they are pivotal in terms of there's going to be lots of double game weeks in there. So there's going to be a good time for free hitting, good time for bench boosting, good time for wild carding around them if you haven't used it already. But if you're going to be bench boosting in game week 33, Burnley play twice then. So if you want to get in and captain a Burnley player, do it now because they're good to go. Everton don't double game week in 33, but very probably will in 36. So therefore, if you're looking to bench boost in 36...
But Burnley are the only team...
So what was that again?
Yeah, sorry, we had a bit of an internet issue there. I think you cut out a bit, Joe. But I was just saying that Burnley are the only team over the next 3 rounds who will play 5 times. So I think going back to your point, if you're going to go for a Burnley player and you're looking them, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, definitely. So just something to think about there. Let's have a look at. So what have I got here? So this is best expected goal involvement last 4. I've written something confusing in my notes here, but it's all players. So forget these Burnley Everton lads. This is where it's all happening. So these are the players we should be considering for the captaincy. Last 4 matches going into game week 31. So expected goal involvement, Salah absolutely top. He's getting on for nearly 6 goals he's expected to be involved in the last 4. Look, I'll just show you that this is what we're looking at here with Burnley and Everton, like a fraction of that. Absolutely fraction. McNeil 1.5 of a goal is the best in terms of those stats. So going back to the expected goal involvement, then you got Kane expected involved in well over 4 goals. He's had 8 chances. Salah's had 16 shots inside the box, by the way. Ronaldo's had 15. So you're looking at Salah, Kane. Next up, Bruno Fernandes, expected goal involvement just under 4, last 4. Tony, very similar, a lot of penalties there. Mane, very good differential still, just under 4. Then you've got Raheem Sterling, over 3 goals expected to be involved in. Ronaldo as well. So interestingly with Ronaldo, 15 shots inside the box, but Salah with 16 shots inside the box. But in terms of expected goal involvement, Salah is like getting on for nearly twice that. So that shows that the quality of Salah's shots are much, much better than Ronaldo's. Rafinha is there, so if anyone's still got him, he plays Southampton next, and he's good. Could be a good captaincy shout alternative. Just over 3 goals. Then Havertz, 3 goals expected to be involved in, and then the Man City lads, Foden and De Bruyne. So looking at fixture, I would say De Bruyne, and if I was looking at form and fixture, I would say Salah. What do you think? I own Salah, so he's my captain. I don't own De Bruyne, but if I did, it would be him. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Salah is really appealing this week, isn't he? At first, when I was looking at this, I set my bus team a couple of weeks ago, or just under that. I was looking at a bit of minute management in this one, possibly, given that Liverpool have a Champions League tie next week against Benfica. They then play Man City, and then Benfica again. But looking at this, Salah last started a league game for Liverpool. It will be 3 weeks ago. It was in that Brighton game. So I think in terms of rhythm, getting them back into that after an international break, getting them in tune again ahead of that Champions League match. I think he'll start this weekend. He's been playing for Egypt as well during the qualifiers. He played on Friday night. I think he's due to play again in the second leg tonight as well. Watford have improved under Roy Hodgson, I think that's fair to say, but they can still look very open. I mean, they went to Molineux and conceded 4 recently. Arsenal hit 3 past them. I think Palace hit 4 past them as well. And so for me, everything points towards Salah as the captain this week. But I do like De Bruyne as a bit of a cheeky differential.
Yeah, definitely. I think, both of us are quite similar in the ranks at the moment. That's just outside the top 100k. You have considerably more chips than I do left. Nevertheless, for people like us who are looking up the table, we want to move up those rankings. De Bruyne against Burnley, that to me, that just screams alternative differential captaincy haul in a week where, as you said, Salah's minutes might be managed. He might come off at 60 minutes or so. And Kane is against Newcastle, and we'll talk about Newcastle in a sec. And who are an improving side. They've got a big bunch of cash behind them now, so it's not surprising, and they've got much better players. I think, I can't look past De Bruyne to advise people to captain, but whether you own him or not is another matter.
Yeah, and I think the thing I like about De Bruyne is he hasn't played for Belgium during this international break, which I wasn't aware of a week or so ago. I thought he'd been called up. He hasn't. I think Roberto Martinez this time has looked to youth in that squad. And so he's going to be fully rested. So you'd expect him to start this one again to get that rhythm going that Pep always talks about. I think he's just over 7% owned. Tricky run of matches coming up for City. They've got Atletico, they've got Liverpool, then they've got Atletico again, and I think they've got Liverpool again. But you would think that he would want to get De Bruyne starting this weekend. 7.7 points per match since game week 17 onwards. I think he's averaging 10 attacking returns in that time. And this Burnley fixture, like you say, they love, don't they?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to... I'm going with Salah. It's very hard to accommodate Salah, Kane, which most people have got, and De Bruyne. But if you are in a position where you've got him, I don't dislike this as a kind of a differential captaincy shout this week.
Definitely. Let's have a look. So I think most people, just by sheer ownership, are going to be looking at one of Salah or Kane or Son if they've got Son instead of Kane. And De Bruyne is for those privileged few who've got him. They could be thinking of getting him in and captaining him. So let's have a look at the so-called whipping boys. This is last 4 matches, worst defences. And I'm never going to remove this picture of Dean Smith because Norwich are just going to be there forever. The long lay out continue because that means I don't have to change picture. But Norwich, expected to have conceded 10 goals, and they have conceded 10 goals. Then there's Leicester, they're still there. They've only conceded 3, but they were expected to concede well over 8. So it could be marginally lucky there not to concede more. But, they've got more defenders back now. So to be honest, I expect them to see them move down this table. And that's a good thing, by the way. And then Brighton. To Brighton's defence, have gone from one of the best to one of the worst. Expected to concede 8, and they have 8. So they're performing exactly as their expected stats say. Then West Ham, that probably indicates their European involvement. Their XG is well over 7, nearly 8, and their XG conceded is nearly 8, and they've goals conceded is 5. And then you got Burnley, shows how bad their defence is, and then Watford, Manchester United, Everton, Wolves, and Brentford and Southampton are sort of the start getting towards mid-table there. So interesting. Southampton have conceded 8, but they were expected to concede much fewer goals than that. But then it's got Newcastle in there. And this is why I mentioned that because of Kane, because this is what we're talking about here, captaincy. Newcastle 4 goals conceded, pretty good, and expected goals conceded just over 4 as well. So they've been neither unlucky nor lucky there. So they're doing well. And then the best defences: Liverpool, City, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, as you expect. Then intriguingly, Leeds are now one of the better defences. So they're the 2 things I noted from this. But for us with the captaincy, this has put me off Kane for the captain, but am I just underestimating Kane's ability to score against Newcastle?
Well, Kane can score against anybody, can't he? You know, the form he's in at the moment, he's red hot. But yeah, that was my initial thought when I looked at this, and I looked at this fixture, and I did think that Newcastle were a trickier opponent than what Salah has got. He's my vice captain at the moment, Kane, and I'm absolutely fine with that. But I'm struggling to put him ahead of Salah right now, given a lot of what we've talked about. And Newcastle, since that January investment, and been able to kind of bring in players like Byrne and Target and Guimaraes, and they've obviously, and some better coaching has obviously helped them defensively, which was so important. So yeah, I mean, and as well, Tottenham, we said it earlier, but yes, they've won back-to-back games, but they've been very up and down this year, and they're not a team on the level of Liverpool either at the moment, despite Kane doing very well and Son recently. They're not as reliable, I don't think. So that's edging me towards Salah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we don't need to scrape a barrel. I mean, scraping a barrel this week is Burnley Everton, really. Because they could get you some really good returns. Any of the players we've mentioned from Burnley and Everton could get you an amazing haul. I remember McNeil doing it before. Chris Wood when he was at Burnley before. You never know. Any of them could get any return. Any of their defenders could do well. Any of the Everton wingers can suddenly, Iwobi, as we've seen, can score unexpected goals. You could get a captaincy haul, but I think for us really it's Salah, Kane, and De Bruyne. It's between one of them, and it depends who you got. Would that be fair enough this week? Yeah,
I would agree with that. I mean, there are a couple of matchups which I kind of looked at earlier. I was looking at Kai Havertz, who is at home to Brentford. He's in really good form at the moment. I think he scored 4 goals in his last 4 league games. He got an assist, I think, for Mount too as well. I think looking at Havertz going forward, rotation may become a bit of an issue, given that Chelsea may prioritise the cups if they look safe for that Champions League spot. They're not in a title race. But I think for this week, Havertz probably looks okay for a start. But then Lukaku is going to be lurking when the schedule gets a bit more intense. But yeah, Havertz not completely against that. He's been leading the line recently and looking good. And then I suppose going on that table that you mentioned, Joe, I mean, Ronaldo as well. I mean, Leicester only conceded 3. But the XG suggests they've maybe been a little bit fortunate during that time. I think Leicester have improved a little bit recently, just from watching them. Like you said, they're getting key players back. They've changed their set-piece routine, which had been causing them problems defensively all season. They've changed that round. I think it was in the last match against Brentford, wasn't it? I think they switched that round and looked a bit more secure. But they have conceded quite a few goals on the road. So if people are looking at Ronaldo, given that they've got a double coming up, again, he's very hard to fit in, given the other options. But
the only way would be to remove Kane or ignore Kane. Either way, it doesn't sound good.
No, exactly. So I just don't think many people are going to have him. But it wouldn't surprise me if United did score a couple in that game. But again, I can't put him alongside the likes of Salah and Kane and De Bruyne this week. They feel like they're on the tier below.
Okay. Well, for those wondering where we got all those stats from, that's from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Lots of good stats there. And some of the tables I put up there about expected goal involvement and expected goals conceded as well. Two of my sort of regular ones I look at to prepare for the game week are very useful. We've got the Scoutcast later tonight. We'll talk a bit more detail about some of those doubles, forward thinking and chip strategy. Lots and lots of other videos and podcasts coming out. And the absolute key one, especially after the international break, is the team news with Neil and Az towards the end of the week on Friday. Because that's going to be vital to our decision. So hopefully everyone we're considering to captain or bring in is fit and well. Tom, thanks so much for your time, and good luck with your decision to captain Salah or Kane or De Bruyne if you get him in.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Cheers for having me.